justice, the absolute justice, is fast fading out and is being eroded. So what of international justice? You see, whenever the question arises as to the relationship between the Britain and some other countries, it would be a mad politician who decides according to the dictates of absolute justice, despite the fact that that is against the British interest. Whenever the outcome of application of absolute justice is against the national interest of any state, without doubt, without hesitation, the politician would decide in favor of a measure which will be against justice but in favor of the nation. Is that right or wrong?
Right.
So if that is right, how can we expect peace? Impossible.
Right. And the second 90%.
Yes.
After watching that documentary on the television, why in Pakistan, why is ahmadiyya so hated? In Pakistan, Middle East?
But this, I'm not going to permit you this question, but I have a right to ask a question.
Right.
So let me ask a question.
Right.
What did Jesus Christ do to be so ill-treated? And what did his followers do to be so viciously persecuted, not only for one generation, but for 3 centuries continuously, to be fed to the wild beasts, to be burnt alive in their homes? What was the crime? Was it a crime to say, if somebody strikes on one cheek, offer the other one? The persecution always ensues from the deep realization of the society belonging to the old order that a new powerful order is being born. It is going to wipe out the old order of wrong attitudes. And the leadership is going to change hands. And nothing can stop it except sword, except persecution. Then they are compelled to take coercion as a weapon of fighting the new ideologies which challenge from the point of morality the ills of the society, not the good points of the society. And they know deep inside. That is why the Holy Quran says that we will punish them. Because we know that they reject the truth despite knowing within, deep in their hearts, that this is truth. Because the truth has the quality of emerging victorious ultimately. It may suffer for 1 century or 2, maybe 3, but it would emerge victorious, and that is the danger felt by the old order, the custodians of the old order, that compels them to take to sword, unfortunately. That is exactly what happened in case of Ahmadis.
In other words, truth will always win.
Of course it will.
I got my answer.
It will prevail. Thank you.
Hazur, now we have come to the end of the questions from our guests.
Now, the time is also over, almost,
right.
But I would invite the first questioner out of the courtesy I owe him. I told him once the first circle is over, I will invite him again. But again, for one question, please.
And that will be the last question.
That will be the last
Mr. Yasmin Khan will say a few words.
Thank you. Yes, I'm coming, I know. The private secretary is informing me that it's time for my next engagement, but after this question, inshallah, I'll follow. Welcome.
Sir, I'm grateful to you that you allowed me for another time.
Thank you.
Now, the question is slightly connected with Jesus Christ and reincarnation is our Mr. Singh said. So, according to my personal belief and according to the verses in the Quran that I've read, they say, Allah said, for arsalna ruhana fatamasala laha basharan saviya.
That's right.
That means we for arsalna, we sent our spirit to Mary, and that spirit became a kind of bashar.
An apparition.
Bashar, yes.
Right.
And then that bashar, that he spoke to Mary, and you, as you said, biologically or this in any other way, that Mary was an ordinary woman. Then in Surah Al Imran, There are verses.
I didn't say, I think ordinary
Yes,
woman. I said she was a woman,
No.
human being,
Yes, yes.
but with a special apparatus provided within
Yes, yes.
her reproductive system.
Yes. But
Yes, that is what I said.
yes. So she was a very special woman because in Surah Al Imran it is written that food was being sent to her from heaven. And when Zakaria asked her where this food has come from, she says from Allah. And if she was a very special woman, then she was ordered by Allah to march towards the east. It's written in Surah Maryam.
Correct, I agree.
And then this verse is there that for arsalna ruhana fatamassala laha basharan saviyya.
That's right.
So there is no mention of angel. There is a mention of his own ruh of Allah.
You see, the word ruh,
Allah, yeah.
the word ruh is explained in the Holy Quran itself.
Yes, yes.
Why don't you read that verse as well?
I read it.
The Holy Quran says, وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الرُّوحِ قُلِ الرُّوحُ مِنْ أَمْرِ رَبِّي.
No. And secondly...
No, please.
Yes.
Now listen to my answer. I have reminded you of another verse of the Holy Quran which speaks of the nature of ruh. Whenever the word ruh is used, what it means?
Sir, ruh of Allah.
No, I'm telling you. The Holy Quran says that يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الرُّوحِ. Ar-ruh is that ruh which we were talking about. It's not ruhun.
فَأَرْسَلْنَا رُوحَنَا
يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الرُّوحِ.
فَتَمَثَّلَ لَهَا بَشَرًا سَوِيًّا. Yes.
I'm talking of
Yes.
this another verse which explains the nature of ruh to us.
Yes.
Without the help of the Quranic verses, we cannot interpret correctly some other verses of the Quran which use the same terminology. The question is, what is ar-ruh? It is the soul of God, as we know soul. And does God have a body as well? If we speak of God's soul in the terms we know the soul to be, then we lose God altogether.
Yes.
Because no God is conceivable with a physical sort of body, a denser body with a spirit within him. And if that is the spirit he is talking about, when he sent that spirit in the form of a man, as he interprets the Quran, then God was spiritless for those moments. And all his spirit was transformed into the image of a man.
Yes.
But so please don't attribute things to the Quran which is inconceivable and they are not possibly applicable to the nature of God. So that is why I said refer to the Quran itself to understand the meaning of ruh.
Ruh, yes.
So now, explaining the word ruh, the Holy Quran says, يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الرُّوحِ. They ask you about the nature of ruh. What ruh means? قُلِ الرُّوحُ مِنْ أَمْرِ رَبِّي. The ruh is nothing other than the will of God. It is the will of God which takes the form of a ruh or a spirit. And there's nothing else to it.
Yes.
So the will of God was expressed in the creation of Jesus Christ.
Yes.
But why did it take the form of a human being? That is what I was discussing when I was diverted to another discussion.
Yes.
Because it must have excited in Mary that womanly feeling which was essential to trigger off that organ within her which could have acted as a sexual organ within. Now, I'm just talking of possibilities from the point of view of the Quranic descriptions, and it is applicable there. So when she